It looks like Joan Rivers has died at age 81. It's all over the major media like ABC News and things. So it's a fact. It's not on the alternative media because it was on the alternative media, several days ago, and I knew it was a hoax rumor back then. But I'm highly suspicious, and I said this before. I like Joan Rivers a lot, but it's not just a comedy, and it's her upfront style. I like that. I mean, I think she's awesome. But I wish I could have done something or whatever because, I'm not a medical professional, but I know some unique things that I think are pretty solid that maybe she would have been able to pull through that and actually been better off than ever was. Because I know every time you have a serious illness, it seems to take some life energy out of you, and you're never really back to 100%. But there's a lot of different things out there with life energy that we can direct to the body. Remember, I was talking about the Lakhovsky coil was one. And I don't think people in Hollywood know about this stuff. Now, somebody like her, I wish she would have had something like this. But she's not aware of it because she was always surrounded by the professional medical doctors that are trained in the medical schools. Something like George's, she would have, if she would have known about this, she would have been using it every day for hours. Probably could have had something where she was sleeping with it and had almost eternal youth. But what I liked, like I said, what I like about her was very much her upstanding, just tells the blatant truth. And when she was bringing that stuff out about Obama being gay and his wife being a tranny, she wasn't doing it as a slur. She was doing it, and not as a joke either. She was doing it just saying, get over it. We already have a gay president and the wife's a tranny. That's what she said as a fact. People disagree with me on that, but that's how I interpreted it for certain. But my problem actually with Obama and Michelle Obama, or Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, whatever, is the policies that are being pushed, like they cater to communist China with the elitists that don't give a damn about individual rights, and it's all either you don't mess with our club or you're dead. Even some of the wealthiest people in China got in major trouble over there due to being on the wrong side of the political party. And the Obama's just catering to that, along with Michelle Obama with her trip to China. I mean, that's the thing people really ought to be looking at, too. Now, I know if it was actually proven, that, I know just people say they have proof that Obama's gay or something, but say it was proven, he would lose a lot of his supporters. I mean, that's just saying the reality. And, if Michelle Obama was proven to be a tranny or something, and, I wouldn't actually look at that like that means they're bad people or something. I don't look at it that way. I'm looking at what's making them bad people is they're catering to the Chinese elite. And he's got a very, very weak foreign policy in the Middle East. And basically he's flip-flopping on issues left and right. And his healthcare issue, Obamacare, I mean, you might say Joan Rivers was the first major victim of Obamacare, even though maybe that's not true. But, I almost wouldn't think, one way to get that bastard back, because I think he had something to do with it. All right? Either him or the party or something associated, not maybe him personally, but something. It's almost like the Bill Clinton deal. Why did so many people around Bill Clinton die? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe it wasn't him telling them to do it, but it's other people around him. It's a power structure that's around these people. Now, in the case of Joan Rivers, she could have possibly... I'm not 110% sure about this, but, a lot of times I try to sift through this alternative medicine, and I hate calling it alternative medicine, because it's based on real science all the way. But sometimes it goes back to the ancients, and sometimes it overlaps with what they do in the veterinary world, like I mentioned, where people had strokes, and when pets had strokes and they couldn't walk, like a dog couldn't walk, again, because they had a stroke, in other words, their brain was starved for oxygen. What happened was they used magnetic pulsars and they restored full function again. They did this actually on some people in an Italian hospital, even. So And I think it was done a little bit in a, I think it was a Maryland hospital, if I'm not mistaken. I'm doing this from memory, but it's been done on pets. So usually when something's done on pets, it works on people too. You know, same with supplementation and things like that. Now in her case, you know, if she pulled out of this, if she did, I mean, I wish she did. I wish she did. I know it's not reality. The Lakhovsky coil would have been a damn good thing to get for that she should have gotten and used every day for many hours a day, because that has some tendency to bring in energies to the body and life enhancing energies, where it just, I don't know what the hell it does. It's directing. You know, it was something based upon. I actually talked about this many times, and actually the inventor of it, he was hit by a limousine in New York City in 1942. George Lakhovsky. He was based upon Tesla's theories. He actually worked a little bit with maybe confided with Tesla or got some advice from Tesla. It was basically Nikola Tesla's idea, but it was George Lakhovsky that put it together. Coils with Tesla coils and copper coils that bring in energies that are around us that we don't see, life-giving energies, and it basically restores the body. People were actually reverse aging. People were going from bald to having hair, from having less gray hair to having less wrinkles. It was actually touted as a beauty treatment in the early 40s. And, you know, after George Lakhovsky was hit by a limousine, a hit and run, which they didn't even know who the one that actually hit him, he was not taken to a hospital. He was taken to a hospital against his will. He wanted to go back to the laboratory and use the, Tesla, his devices, the Lakhovsky coils based upon the Tesla coils. You know, there's 3 Tesla coils in them that make them work, that drive the device. And he did not want to go to the hospital. So he probably wasn't that severely injured, but he died 3 days later. And then the device that was having all these miraculous cures in the New York City hospital disappeared from the hospital. That's the Lakhovsky Multi-wave oscillator. Some of which have been rediscovered in Italy just recently. So anyway, that would have been something that maybe Joan Rivers did. Now also, it just reminds me of Boris Berezovsky. I'm not too good at saying his last name, but you know what I'm talking about. He was very highly critical of Vladimir Putin for many years. They said he was depressed and he committed suicide, hanging himself or something in the bathroom with the door locked. I doubt that very much. They said he was, initially they said he was broke, but it turned out he had over $500 million net worth, which is not something to sneeze at. I mean, that's quite a bit of money. Because he said he was depressed because he lost his lawsuit. But it has been known they were trying to kill him for quite some time. That was Vladimir Putin. Well, it seems like any time you try to criticize one of these anointed politicians, something happens to somebody. And I think Hollywood's afraid to speak up now, too. I think they are. But, and Joan Rivers wasn't being critical of Obama. Not at all. Now, I'm making the assumption she was murdered, because it's a little bit too ludicrous to think that she would have died, that the procedure that she went in there for, it was you know what she went into hospital for, from my understanding? And this is like, from written word, from the best sources I can find. She went in there because her voice, she didn't really have a medical problem. She thought her voice was starting to sound a little more raspy. So she wanted to go, she went in there for a very minor throat procedure to fix that. So it's like my thought that, some people are thinking it's because she's 81 years old. I think if she went in there, whatever happened to her over there, if she was 22, she would have had the same problem. She would have been in a coma with her heart stopped. Well, it was a medically induced coma with her heart stopped. I'm highly suspicious. Well, I'm not gonna sit here and play games like political correctness and pull, you know what I'm telling you. I'm here to tell the truth on what my opinion is on this deal. Anyway, how's that? And I'm not trying to sensationalize it or anything, but I'm stating you flat out. My suspicions are full tilt to the max, and they have been. They have been. And it's not like she said something against the Obama administration, but it was something that was very damaging if it's brought out as a fact or whatever the hell it is. So, to me, that would not I'm not like pro-gay or anything like that, but I'm saying that is not what would aggravate the hell out of me, because with Obama or something like that, I think the guy is gay. I mean, he's been proven. There's been a lot of stories about Sinclair or something like that. He's one of the guys that said something about it. But, it's his policies. Actually, to tell you the truth, there's been, and for these people that are like pro-Obama to the max, I can tell you right now, there's loads of stories on the Bushes, George Bush Sr., Johnson, I don't know. I think the only one out there that was really straight-laced that was pretty squeaky clean was, and I'm not even Reagan was like squeaky clean. I think it was Jimmy Carter was the only one that was like the squeaky clean one as far as the sexual escapades and that went on. I think he was the only one. From my research on things, from what I've been, and actually I've been told stuff from people that used to be, they had family in the Secret Service and stuff, because I was in the military and they used to tell me all these crazy wild stories about stuff you couldn't believe. And the fights that used to go on between the Clintons and everything else, Actually, I feel sorry for Bill, man. I'm like, dude, I mean, I know he's a player, but I mean, God, get out of that situation. Anyway, but, with Joan Rivers, it's like, I think she was shut up. I really do. I really do. I mean, it's screaming. It's so loud, blatant, right in front. And I think everybody knows this. It's almost like what happened with Marilyn Monroe. I mean, Marilyn Monroe. I mean, it's not exactly the same situation, but because I think Joan Rivers' character is 100 times better than Marilyn Monroe. I'm not a fan of Marilyn Monroe, but I like Joan Rivers though. But Joan Rivers is more like somebody would say something because she just, she don't play games, you know what I mean? Like Marilyn Monroe was probably playing games too for her own personal gain, but they shut her up, and everybody knew it at the time that wasn't a suicide, even way back then. They knew that. In the major media today, they almost make it look like, or in the alternative media, they look like it's almost coming out like, oh, it's starting to see that it wasn't a suicide. Everybody figured that was a murder way back, even back then. Even though the major media wouldn't say that. But everybody knew it. That was the consensus back in 1963, whenever the hell that was, or 62, I forgot what it was. That was the consensus. Everybody really knew it back then. Now, I don't want to compare, like I said, Marilyn Monroe was actually somebody that actually put out, that said a lot, was looking for personal gain. Now, Joan Rivers, she wasn't looking for personal gain. She was just putting it out there as, hey man, get over it. We already got a gay president, and Michelle Obama's a tranny. She just put it out there like that. It's like, get over it. We already got one. She does these gay weddings and everything else, and it's like, she's like for that, right? So I mean, what the hell can I tell you? I mean, she's not criticizing the guy for it at all. She's not against Obama for it. She's just putting it out. And it wasn't a joke. It was just she was saying it as a fact. That's all. But I think the powers that be, or whoever the hell it was around him, the power structure, wanted her to shut up. That's what I think happened. I swear to. I mean, it's not like I can prove this, but it's just smells so much that way. It almost reminds me of like Boris Berezovsky criticizing Vladimir Putin so much. He hung himself, right? Yeah, okay. Yeah, right. Whatever. So, like I said, the powers that be, the bad news, and I think Hollywood's scared of them. Actually, I think there's a lot more in Hollywood that are more stand-up, honest people than probably the American public kind of gives them credit for. But they're scared of the powers that be, man. The powers that be own Hollywood. That's what I think's going on. It's a shame, man. But anyway, I don't know. I wish I was around with, I mean, that's ludicrous for me to think that. I mean, I wouldn't have been around here because I'm like, that's a little bit too much of a screw up to me to think that. I mean, that doctor is like whoever the hell did that with her, man. It's like, I don't know. It's almost like I'm supposed to believe the Twin Towers came down or Building 7 came. This is what it reminds me of with Joan Rivers. It's like saying Building 7 just fell down due to a couple fires on the top or something. Didn't get hit by a plane. That's what it reminds me of. I don't think we ought to let this issue rest. I mean, I like that lady, man. I think she was cool. I do. I think she was cool. It was like, I remember seeing her on Johnny Carson. I thought she was funny and stuff. But it's like, there was something about her that I liked because she just stood up against the grain, basically for the truth. She might say it in a funny way, but she stood up against, the prevailing dominant forces, basically for the truth. That's what I like about her. And I guess that's one way she should be remembered because she was more than a comedian. She was somebody that, she was a real stand-up lady. She would not cave into BS pressure on anything. And if she believed in something, she believed in it. And if you disagreed with her, she wasn't kissing anybody's ass. She just, she stood up for what she really believed in. So I always had a lot of respect for her. I don't know. I don't like this. I don't like this that she's dead. I wish it wasn't true. I really do. Anyway, over to now.